Beth, thank
Mm.
you for your time. I'm really impressed with what you've been doing, and I'm really grateful for your time to jump in on this. Really looking forward to picking your brain and hearing all about it. But first of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really well. I've had some days, I've had 2 days to just really land after a pretty big weekend. Um,
Yeah.
long, yeah, just kind of travel and late nights and just then like rinse and repeat kind of a thing. But and I took my husband with me, so he was like, "Whew."
Yeah. Because that was shore leave. That was Geraldton, yeah?
Yeah, we flew up to Geraldton and I don't know, because we're down south. So then to get up to the airport, you've got to leave pretty early and all that sort of hassle.
Yeah.
So we were like, I was like, I don't want to miss the flight. So I was like, we got to get up at 4:20.
Yeah.
Yeah, we left Donnybrook at like I think yeah, 4:30 or 5 or something, and then flew out and yeah, and played up there, which was amazing. Had a really good night. Probably drank a little bit too much, but we were good. We jumped on the plane the next morning, and then we were kind of feeling it in the day, and so we sort of take the time to rest, and then go play, and then rest, and then go play, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because Shane was like, this is why I understand why the bigger acts they don't generally come and watch the supports.
Nah.
They're just exhausted. They're like, we need sleep. They need that downtime. They've been traveling. And so I kind of feel that. But coming home, Mondays are my days of just like, I just like to be a home, like a housewife when I come home on a Monday. I like to clean. I like to cook. Cooking's kind of my second expression of creativity.
Yeah, cool.
And and yeah, and just go for walks. Like that's really grounding. All of that's pretty important to me. I think that balance is super important because I would not have the energy to do what I do on the weekends if I didn't do all of that. People
Yeah.
people look at what I'm doing and they're like, "Man, you're flat out." And I'm like, "I am when it's my working time, but during the week, like I've got some long sort of planned, like nothing's planned except for maybe like two jobs in the day, and then the
Yeah.
like I'm just kind of with Teddy, with my dog, and we go for walks, and I make sure I take a lot of downtime. So it looks busy, but actually you don't see the rest, and that's the
Yeah.
thing with social media. Like you see all of the busy and the high, and I probably should actually I should put more into the feed about how much downtime I actually do spend, and how much time I spend just like doing things like exercise or kind of like mental health stuff, or
Mm.
yeah, just stuff like that which you have to do.
Now, I'm interested when you're at a festival, as you said, like you get there, you play, you've hung around. Like, what are you doing as an artist after you perform, right? Is there a way that you, I don't know, try and solidify your impression either with the people that are there, the other artists? Like, how do you festival?
Oh, how do I festival? Well, actually, I don't really put it. I probably, now that you mention it, I probably should put more effort into how I festival. But I think I generally it's probably more of an organic process. Sometimes when I get off stage, I sort of I ironically don't enjoy the attention off stage.
Yeah, right.
Sort of like just walk through the crowd, and if I'm getting a drink or whatever it is, um and then you get like people will sort of tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, and then so they'll say something which is really kind, and I really love that and appreciate that, and so then I'll get into a conversation with them, and we might sort of, yeah, unpack a little bit more about either music or what, like kind of just talking to you, just sort of talking, to find out, like, yeah, about what if I'm in a different location, what's the community there, and just stuff like that. But when it comes to, yeah, I don't really think I don't really think about like how I could probably further what I'm doing on stage with the audience. I think just, yeah, there's a side to me that's a little bit reserved and shy. So when I'm on stage, I get to step into a character. When I'm there with like my drummer, it's interesting. I've had this conversation with someone. So when I'm with my drummer, I'll dress in like high heels, a dress. I'll do like I will withstand the pain of high heels and a pedal board just to prove that that I like, I don't know, that's my character. It's kind of it's very feminine, but it's a little bit dark. And it's still my songs, but then when I play it as a solo, because I'm sitting down and I've got one foot on so I've got my left foot on like a cymbal pedal
Yep.
and I've got my right foot on a stomp. I can never really wear a dress. I can, but I've just got to sort of, it's got to be
Yeah.
flowing along. But it's just trickier. So I often dress in a more masculine way. And I find that yeah, both of those, they seem to lend into these just slightly different sides of my psyche. So
Yeah.
I
Wow.
it's quite it feels very like whole for me to be able to represent both, because for a long time I felt like I was just living in the masculine, and it felt intimidating to put a dress on. It still does sometimes, because I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think, I mean, we don't need to get into feminism chats, but there's still that slight little bit of like, oh, like, are you going to watch me because I'm in a dress, or are you going to watch me because you like the music? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's still there. It's really still there, even though we'd like to think it's not in 2025. There's a lot of, especially in a bar, especially with alcohol, it's sort of conducive to that in a way. I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, characters. So they tend to be kind of characters of myself. And then when I'm off stage, it's kind of like, oh, you've just witnessed all of, like, you guys have just witnessed all of that. I feel I feel a little bit vulnerable, actually. I kind of feel
Mm.
a bit naked walking through the crowd. So I'm kind of just looking at the ground, or like looking not directly at people. In a very, like, I don't want to be, yeah, looking directly at you kind of a thing. But it's nice to receive the people that the people that connect with it. They'll generally let me know, and that's really cool. I'm really grateful for it. And the people that don't really connect with it, that's also, yeah, that's also fine.
Do you reckon if you either intentionally or genuinely or not, but let's say you faked it and you walked off head up, shoulders back, shoulders out, right? If you walked off confidently and walked through that crowd confidently, do you think the number of people that came up to you or the reactions you got from people would change?
I don't know. That's a really interesting question. And I think, because, like, reflecting on my music is not particularly easy to listen to. Like, I feel like, so take an example from Shore Leave that's just happened. I got up there and I was playing my set, and I'd say for the majority of the set, there was probably about two people clapping, like after the end of each song,
Yeah.
and they would have been the two people that I know, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So after I finished, but I had a good time. I did my thing, and then I got off, and yep, did my little walk through the crowd to go get a couple of drinks, and then that's kind of where it happens. It's like these sneaky little, like, taps on the shoulder, and then, like, oh, hey. And part of me wonders, like, I actually get the feeling that the people that really connect with my music, because it's I would say it's a bit alternative. I
Yeah.
think the yeah, it's not going to be something for everybody, and I think the people that do like it, they might not be as outspoken about it, because it's quite I wouldn't say it's controversial, but it's just kind of like, it's
Maybe
different.
personal.
It's personal, but it's different. Like, I'm going to sing about stuff that no one is probably going to be singing about, or at least on that stage,
Yeah.
like, in that um you know sort of environment with that audience. This
Mm.
audience of sort of so what was it? I think I played at 5 o'clock. It was in the main street, sort of like on the foreshore in Geraldton.
This is
And
a
I
great spot.
know a lot about the community in Geraldton, but um, the atmosphere is that it's pretty, it's pretty summery up there. It's pretty laid back. I always feel like the higher north you go, the more acceptable thongs are in the pub and stuff like that.
Totally.
kind of, so it's kind of like, okay, so maybe the music reflects that. I imagine music to be sort of kind of like, you know, a bit more just like chilled or sort of lighthearted in a sense. Whereas here, because what I write reflects my environment. My
Hmm.
environment here in Bailing Up is like, we're in the forest. We go in dark, like we're the pagans. Like we go in dark and we kind of, you know, we spend a lot of time doing either, you know, connection to nature or grounding, or like a lot of people who live here have a really strong sense of who they are and also their connection and their, you know, somewhat insignificance in kind of like nature and all of that. So I
Yeah,
think
right.
there's this element through my music that kind of just, it's just a little bit, yeah, I wouldn't call it lighthearted at all. In fact, there was a guy that I tried to, I was trying to look at a gig down south, and this was a little while back, but I've always said, I was like, the first EP I release, I'm going to call it like a little bit depressing, because I sent him some of my stuff and he was like, "Oh, look, it's nice, but it's a little bit depressing." I was and I just had to take that and laugh, because I was like, I'm not like, you know, I'm a folk artist generally and I'm not doing anything heavy. But I think what he's referring to is the tone and kind
Yeah,
of
okay.
the songwriting structure. And I could write like a song about anything, but there's going to be a tone in there that's going to dive a little bit deeper than just,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't, emotions to me, like songwriting to me has to reflect a myriad of emotions and not just be like very flat and two-dimensional. I want to go, if I'm going to explore something like happiness, I have to explore something really dark before I come into that, because to me that's actual true contentment. Contentment
Okay.
comes through going through all of that mud, you know? And I think that's just, it's just reflected in my music. So there's an element there, I have to say, that's just slightly, it might be uncomfortable or it might just be a little bit too, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting giving it to an audience that might be used to a bit more sort of like just kind of upbeat,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like happy songs. And not that my songs are depressing, I don't think so at all, but I think what they do is they just kind of make you stop and go, oh, okay. Like I want to give people something to think about.
Mm.
So the people that I attract, I don't know if they would be more outspoken if I was to sort of, you know, confidently stride through the crowd, or if it's just gonna, it maybe I'm just a songwriter for the people who, you know, like me, feel a little bit outside of, I don't know, like kind of the popular stuff, you know, like maybe
Totally.
people like me, they're kind of interested in something that's a little bit different anyway, you know, and they might be a bit more quiet and reserved about it as well. So I don't,
Yeah.
it's a good question, and I'll have to try it, to be honest, and I should. But it's just, it's funny because, yeah, once I'm off, because there was so much vulnerability on stage, it's like, oof, I just need to like,
Mm.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
be undercover for a second. Yeah.
Yeah. It always fascinates me, you know, how do we connect with the people that connect with our music, right? And how do we in you know enhance that relationship with these people out there that do like our original music. And I sort of wonder, like, yeah, if we said, hey, like, I'm going to be here, if you like this music, I'd love to meet you, like you invite that, and it's, you know, you're extending your vulnerability for even further. So Shore Leave is not your first festival. You've played like Ravo Blues and Roots, which was a phenomenal lineup, as well. You've done Nanup. You've played with like Ash Grunwald, Salt and Steel. Like, how does an artist, like, that's what we see. We see this list, this resume of festivals that you and artists that you work with.
Mm.
What goes into getting onto those kind of bills, like, you know, and those kind of opportunities? Like, what is it that we don't see? Like, how do you play to your strengths to beat sometimes hundreds of other artists to get on that bill?
Mm. Wow. I don't know if you're going to like this answer either.
Do it. I'm here for it.
Well, in all honesty, pretty much luck, pretty much luck with those. I mean, Nanok Festival's not really luck. Like there is an application process for that. And they are great because they are really, I think, at the forefront of being a festival mostly for emerging artists. You know, there's a lot of because you know, kind of their slogan is like, you're gonna find your new favorite band here. Like that's kind of their slogan, and it's true. Everybody walks away going, I like them, and then they, you know, follow them into other places, which is so. What they're doing for original live music is awesome. It's so good, and I love that. Like I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure there's no cover bands allowed at None Up. Yeah, so perfect.
Yeah, love
What we
it.
want, and we need a festival that's going to be creating culture for that, because as musicians we're already trying to create that culture of live original live music, but you know, a festival that's 100% behind it is it's top. So that's like, I love Nana. I always try and go there if I can, to support. I've volunteered in the past, and
Yeah, cool.
yeah, it's a nice way to meet people as well, and obviously playing there was really fun. But in, like, you know, talking about Ash Grummold and Ravo Blues and Roots, and even like Joe Camilleri and the Black Sorrows,
Mm.
actually a whole lot of luck. I just happened to, I'm trying to think who I was speaking to. Yeah, I do a lot of throwing, you know, whatever intentions out into the breeze. And so I think at one point I emailed Indian Ocean Hotel, and I just happened to get passed on to someone who was looking for support. And I had supported Ash in the past at Gatsby's in Manjimup.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, cool. And I think also because they wanted someone who was not going to be try to be like Ash. Like there's a lot of I suppose that, you know, like they didn't want someone who was kind of also, I don't know, like another male, or sitting and doing like stomp boxy things. Like they wanted to have a point of difference as
Yeah.
well. So I think that was, you know, that worked in my favor, being female and bringing completely different sort of songwriting things to the table, like, you know, the way that I structure my songs, and the type of lyrics that I have. You know, we're not going to say it's depressing, but it's thought provoking. We'll go with thought
Yeah,
provoking.
yeah, yeah.
And like, you know, here in the forest, that's what we do. We sit around the trees and we think, and it's really healthy.
Yeah, totally.
It's really good. I like getting people to scratch deeper than, you know, start to like take away that surface layer and just go a little bit deeper. To me, that's art, and that's why I want to do what I do. But so I just happened to speak to the right person at the right time, I think. And they were like, okay, I need a support for this date. Can you make it happen? I was like, yep, that sounds great. And then that person just happened to know someone else who needed a support for Ravo Blues and Roots. So it just
Unreal.
worked out that way. And strange, because there's a million musicians in probably Perth alone who would have been very well deserved to get on that bill. I don't really know why they chose me. Maybe again they just wanted something different. But I was stoked to be there. I was stoked to have my drummer come up as well, because we
Yeah.
started playing together for a little bit by that point. So yeah, look, if the opportunity comes, I'll take it. I don't think, yeah, I don't think I'd second guess it. But I definitely wouldn't say that I was the only person to deserve it. Like there's so many people that could have been on that bill. It was cool to meet Dallas Frasca. She was awesome to watch. I bought a record at the end, and it was cool to meet the Black Sorrows as well. Um, Joe signed my guitar, and he's
Yeah.
incredible to watch as well. He's got so much energy. But again, when he sits down, so when he goes off stage, so they don't walk through the crowd. They go off stage and they go chill. And I went back to go chat with him, and he's sitting there, and he's pretty tired. Like I don't know how old he is, but he puts on a hell of a show, and then he's literally got to sit down and just catch his breath because it
Yeah.
takes a bit out of you. So I don't know, maybe that's his way of kind of decompressing, and maybe in a way that's what I'm doing as well. I don't know. But
Mm.
yeah, the guys from the Black Stories were really nice, really just genuine, really authentic. Cool to meet. Ash Grunwald's another one. He's just a very down to earth person. I love meeting people who you can just talk to as well. They don't make you feel funny about who they are or something. Um, and and meeting him for the second time and supporting him for the second time was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll throw a comment out there in that I always think the people that put things down to luck um cut themselves short. I think people make a lot of their luck, and if you don't throw those intentions out there in the wind, if you're not a quality high quality person, I think you're not going to make any luck. That's what I find is that when I chat to people, they say, "Oh, we're just really lucky." You're not lucky. You're talented, right? And you compliment whatever, whether it's a support act or a festival or whatever. But I think you compliment what the show is well enough to be deserving. Yeah, I think you're thoroughly deserving of that, and
Oh,
I can see why that you would be picked.
oh, thank you. And I really appreciate that. I think, and you must know this being a musician yourself. You're kind of like, man, there's a lot of good music out there, like
Yeah,
um not that it's a competition, but just like, yeah, I'm grateful to be on the bill, but also like there's a lot of good music out there.
yeah, yeah.
But, like hopefully, because look, I'm no whiz on guitar, and vocals are still something that I'm developing. But like I said, for me, the important thing about it is more about what's the message going to be, and what are we doing to sort of, like, is there a way that we can connect together, myself and the audience, through songwriting, which is sharing different ideas and experiences, and also, in a way, you kind of, in the bigger scheme of things, trying to look at ways that we can better ourselves
Mm,
as humanity as well.
yeah. Now your songs, you've got an incredible style like this 1970s, 80s kind of rock, like, and then there's like these grunge white stripes, and then these like, yeah, amazingly delicate vocals that kind of float in over the top. Um, like, what does it mean to be an original artist to you? Like, why did you choose original music? Like, you could have, there's 1,000 gigs out there for cover artists. Yeah, what's the driver for you there?
I think yeah, pretty much coming back to what I love about art. And I think it's the ability. So, when I was at school, I did some TER, and that was kind of a passion of mine. I did do music as well, but there wasn't really much of a program where I was. So, art's probably the door that I've entered, and I like that because it's given me the opportunity to think about what it's like, what it is that I want to communicate to the audience, and the way that art affects you. Sometimes you look at a picture, well, to me personally, when I look at visual art, I'm not generally drawn. I really highly respect people who can do realistic paintings, drawings, whatever it is. I think the skill there and the discipline there is incredible. But the stuff that affects me, the stuff that I leave and go, wow, like the stuff that you keep thinking about, it's not always the pretty stuff. Sometimes it's really rough. Sometimes it's a little bit even, aggressive, or it's kind of got elements in it that feel a bit dark. And sometimes it's really light, but it's the way that it's painted, with its being impressionism or something like that, makes you think about the way that they've taken that environment and what they wanted to reflect to you as well, like the contours of nature or something. So I think for me, expression and coming into music with the intention to express different ideas, and those ideas being important, because I think this is where conversation happens. This is, to me, the problem. I'm just going to put Teddy down because
You're right.
he's making my leg go to sleep. Go down, Teddy. I think this is the important thing with original music. It gives you the opportunity to you can have you're going to start to have a conversation. And all of the artists, you know, you say 1970s, all of the artists that like a lot of them from that era, they're writing about things that they were social issues, or they were things that people wouldn't talk about or found it difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
Those are the things that music has had, you know, social issues and music kind of go hand in hand with art. And I think it's when you start to crack that open and it becomes a song that people know and support or something like that, it's giving the opportunity to have those conversations, even if they are difficult. So for me, that's a really important starting ground for original music, because that's my intention. My intention is to start to crack open these things that we don't want to talk about and sort of take it so that we can, but also like, how are we going to evolve? How are we going to evolve as not just a community, but as a species? Because I think we can all appreciate there's so much stuff just going on in the world. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
we need to not kind of let that be something that washes us with anxiety or kind of makes us go into this kind of hyperactive sort of like constant doing and doing and doing. But how are we going to use our brains? You know, we're incredible. We have the ability to rise above this stuff. We just need to kind of come together. And I think the basis of original music is that it challenges these ideas, and it can create movements. And so that's something that's so important, because if it's what you've heard before, you're never going to evolve. If it's
Yeah.
something,
Yeah. Yeah.
a cover song from, you know, which has been in past, that was relevant to that time, and sometimes it's still relevant to today. But if you haven't heard anything new and it's not, you know, connecting in with, I guess, current social events or whatever's happening at that time and that place, you're not giving the opportunity for people to start to, as a culture, you know, evolve. And I think that's the dark side to cover music. I think it's a little bit like, it's limiting. It's even, I was talking about it with Shane, like, just, you know, most, don't want to sound like, you know, an ageist or whatever, but there's kind of that demographic of maybe young adults who are growing up with streaming. Like, that's kind of their, you know, that's coming in their generation, because that's not my generation. And it's sort of like, you look at the playlist and it'll go from like Johnny Cash to, I don't know, Tina Turner, and then like Taylor Swift. Like, it's just like, it's all over the place, but there's no sort of, there's no kind of like coherent flow or, um, I don't know, like, that's the whole point of an album, right? That's the whole point, is to take the person on a journey. And I think when we're so scattered like that and we just keep listening to stuff that's already happened, we're not able to evolve like men.
Mm.
And I think music, for me, that's the point, you know. That's what the point is for me, because I want to be able to start to challenge those ideas so that we can, you know, we can start to come together as a culture, but also evolve as a culture, because so many people feel so stuck.
Thank you so much, Beth. I've loved hearing your insights and chatting with you. Yeah, it's been great to watch you. I can't wait to see what the rest of 2025 brings for you. Yeah, really appreciate your time, and thanks for chatting.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.